Hey guys, welcome back to Dose of Joy. Today is a very special video because we have the very wonderful Lauren here. And in my New Year's resolution video, I talked about wanting to do more interviews and sort of branching out. So this is the first one that we'll start with, yeah.
She hasn't told me any of the questions, so I'm going to be put on the spot for the whole thing.
Also, I should probably mention that we're having this interview also because we both have very in-depth conversations about well-being, and I think that's something that I wanted to focus this channel on, is sort of finding who you are in just struggling in life, but wholesome nonetheless. Okay, well, I mean, first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm currently about to finish off university and I'm sort of in the process of finding out what I want to do in the next step. I kind of just want to go traveling and pursue my passion for languages overseas, and then we'll figure out like where it goes from there. But I'm just trying to enjoy wherever I am presently.
Nice. And yeah, I sort of want to ask you though, what are your values?
My values?
Do you know what your values are?
In terms of like general how I lead life, or like relationships, or
sort of like, well, relationships could really feed into values. So for example, mine are growth and learning, and connection.
Yeah, I feel like we share a lot of the same values in terms of growth, learning, like adventuring, and also like a big one for me is being comfortable in my own skin. Like if I have that trust in myself and that self-love, then wherever I go in life, I'll make the right decisions. And and I think some of my core values would be like self-respect, mostly starting with like self-love and self-respect first and foremost, and then with other people that would be trust, being adventurous, genuinely caring about your friends and not holding back from like jealousy or anything, but also because you have that genuine love and trust for them, you guys would be able to work anything out between you. That's sort of like the relationship side of my values. But it all stems from like within, I guess. Yeah, and I also wanted to ask about, like you mentioned before, about self-respect and getting to really develop that over the, like how did it progress and how did you actually develop it? It's been a long journey. Like I think it really hit me after 2014, like year 11, when I realized that the root of a lot of like my insecurities or issues with relationships came from not loving myself and not respecting myself and not knowing what I deserve. So in turn, if you don't know what your like threshold is for how other people treat you, then you're most likely going to be treated pretty poorly by others. So it's taken like years to sort of build up that self-love and knowing what I deserve, and I'm still on a journey to find it. Like I still make mistakes, but I think you just have time is probably the key. Time and having a positive outlook on the mistakes you make and any obstacles that you overcome, and
I guess like learning from those obstacles.
Yeah, completely.
As well.
Exactly. And I used to avoid confrontation as much as possible. And like
don't
oh my gosh, that would it led to so many, like it would lead to me being so passive aggressive, like to deal with all my problems in high school. And it's just so much more freeing to actually have discussions with people, like rather than hold things against them and hold grudges.
Like communication is really
completely, and not just communication in the sense like between two people, but communication with yourself. Like confronting yourself is such a scary big thing, but if you can do that, then you're gonna grow and learn from anything that you encounter in life.
The next question I want to ask you is really, well, what are your current goals and what are your future goals?
This is something I've been thinking about a lot recently, because a friend's mum asked me what my next steps were like after I graduate in like 6 months time, and it kind of struck me. I was like, I have no idea, because I always thought that when I graduate I would settle down to a full-time job, or like buy a house, get married, have kids, retire, and then regret all my 20s.
That too.
Essentially. And so I've just been thinking not so much in the long-term steps, but just what focusing on what my interests and values are, and then taking the next step from there. So I've realized that I love helping people, and I'm passionate about cross-cultural engagement and language learning. So I've decided that my next step will be to move to China for 1 or 2 years to study Mandarin there and do some become an English teacher for a little bit.
Really awesome.
And yeah, and I'm so open to what I'll experience and what I'll learn from myself there. So if I decide that I want to shift my career from like international business to teaching in the future, then, you know, that's going to be great. So that's my next step, to go to China and then figure it out from there. And I'm not worried about marriage or like buying a house or anything, because I don't know like where I'm gonna be in 10 years time. And if you focus on securing your future in 10 years, you're gonna miss so much of what is happening in the present and like deny yourself of so much.
Yeah,
so,
but do you feel though that because right now there's a lot of pressure to find a job, to like get married or whatever, like there's a societal expectation, like how, because I find it really difficult to just do what I just want to do, but is there like something inside of you that, like, what motivates you to really do what you're passionate about?
I think realizing that I have no ties, as ambiguous as that may sound, but just knowing that like I'm my own person and home. This is so cheesy. Like I exist in myself, and my future is literally in my hands. Like, sorry, this is so cliche, but literally like that realization for me has been so freeing, because I'm sick of living the life that other people want me to live from their eyes and from their perspective and from pleasing people. And I used to be such a people pleaser and would do things according to what I thought that they'd want me to do. I knew nothing about myself back then. Now I'm so much more confident that I trust that whatever the next step is for me, it'll be the right one. And if there's pressures on me from my family or other people saying, no, you shouldn't move to China, you shouldn't give up your life here in Melbourne, you should focus on settling down and having kids, that's complete BS. That is what they want.
And going back to actually what you said about people pleasing, like I personally feel like I still fall for it. Like I will, there is something inside of us that really wants to please people around us, because that's how we actually get accepted into our community. So it's, I guess it's more like finding a good balance between it, not to like sacrifice what you're passionate about and what is true to your values, again referring to before, but like it's being able to maintain a healthy balance between being accepted but also accepting yourself. Yeah,
exactly. Obviously you can't, it's not good if you wreak havoc in the world and completely ignore like other people's needs or wants or do harm to others. But yeah, you're right, you have to have a balance of knowing what's good for yourself, and once you have that settled down, then your true friends and family out there will support you, and you don't have to go out of your way to please them, essentially. Or you'll do it of your own will and you'll be happy with that.
So before that, you mentioned you want to go overseas and that's your like future goals and everything. What are you doing this all for? Is there a reason why you're searching for more? And
I wouldn't even say searching for more. I would just say being open to wherever life takes me and not being tied down to like a physical location. And there's so much more to see out there in the world, and it's not like I'm soul searching, but it's more like I'm creating myself along the way.
I like that one.
Because otherwise, like, I feel like I used to have that sort of mindset of like, right, I need to go overseas and go on exchange and find myself. But what I found out was that I wasn't finding myself. I was recreating whoever I was, because in any new environment, you have none of your like old past there, and you get to be whoever you want to be. And for me, that's been such a like massive stage in my growth. Getting to meet different people all across the world who have like all these different jobs or different lifestyles to you, different histories and values, and taking all of that in and like picking things from it, as
like learning as you go.
Exactly.
Taking the good stuff and adding that to your personality and everything, but then also looking at like the failures.
Exactly.
Not really, but well, things that haven't worked out.
Completely.
As well.
And on that note of like soul searching, I feel like if you have that in mind when you're going overseas, more often than not, might mean that you're dissatisfied with your current life, or that you might still never find what you're looking for, because it's such an intangible thing to search for what fits exactly right in your heart. I feel like you just have to trust that, just be open and like trust that wherever you're going is gonna you're gonna help you develop.
Don't you find that I always find the trends for, especially when you're traveling and stuff, open-mindedness
definitely
is a huge thing, like
completely
to be open to new experiences, not to shut yourself up. Not to shut yourself off so soon, right? Like it's saying yes when you feel a bit uncomfortable, but you know it can lead to something more. But also, this is not like planned, but
okay, good.
Like, how do you find saying no to things.
Right.
Because I have so much problem.
Yeah, I remember you saying that in the past as well.
Being able to say no to other things, because what they say is if you say no to something, you're saying yes to something else, which means that you're leaving opportunity to actually do what you want to, instead of sort of settling because you can't say no.
Right, okay. So does that sort of tie in with like people pleasing in that sense?
In a way, like it's been a difficult like journey for me to be able to be comfortable with saying no. And I guess, completely. It is bringing in the people pleasing.
Yeah. I've definitely been through that as well, and I still sometimes struggle with it because I had like FOMO, or I would be... that was a massive thing that I had to sort of get over. FOMO, and I had insecurities about myself, and I wasn't comfortable in my own skin, so I would try and please as many people as I could to like fill this void inside. And
was there like a how did you actually shift? Was it someone else who helped you, or was it...
No, it was actually... it was definitely like my friends and family helped me, because I think they noticed that I was sort of breaking down a lot. Like I was just taking on too much because I was always saying yes to things. I never got to spend time with myself, and I didn't know how to break free of this cycle of like always catching up with friends, or always taking on all these like extra opportunities. And then it was like sort of a series of breakdowns I had where I was just completely exhausted. I had no energy to do anything. And it was in those moments where I just like realized, it was probably 3 years ago, right, I have to stick to what works for me and not what works for other people. Because if you don't have enough in you yourself, like enough energy, it's not going to be fulfilling for you anyway, like whatever you say yes to. And I think it's such
it's like, you actually, when I make those decisions that I should say no to, I know already in my heart that I'm not 100% into it.
Exactly. You recognize it. It's just hard to actually accept it and then act on it yourself. You might not feel like hanging out with a friend at a particular stage because you're tired or want to like read a book, and you'll recognize the signs. It's just a matter of acting on those signs that makes a difference.
I guess also bring back what we said about communication. I guess it is
self-communication,
like, because they could take it badly if you say no, but if you're able to sort of like communicate what you're actually feeling, like I'm feeling tired, or I'm feeling like I just want to be by myself,
and people will understand, like those who care about you generally exactly.
People may not understand, but
exactly.
Out the door.
Otherwise, who are you living for if you're not letting yourself live the way that you want to live?
Exactly. Your values, true to yourself.
Exactly. So this whole thing has been about, is this like values? Is this the topic of
No, it's not, but we find ourselves gravitating towards it anyway.
Man, every time.
Yes, okay, so this topic, linchpinning, and...
honey, okay.
Yes. So, okay, to give context, I read a book by Seth Godin called Linchpin. And I read it and it really resonated with me because his book is essentially about why are we being so obedient? We're learning obedience in school, in the system, and we've grown up by following all these instructions of how to get a good grade in class. And for what? Like we go straight into, like we graduate and then we go straight into like a job, or I meant like uni, a job, etc. And we're not really developing our inner creativity a lot of the time because it's very structured in a way. And I even I wrote a blog post about this, which you read. And
multiple times.
Why did it resonate with you? Like why did you like it or like dislike it?
I've honestly, I loved it, and the reason why I loved it so much and why it resonated with me so much was because it was about how we've grown up in this education system and throughout life to always think a certain way, and I had never thought about why it's so hard for me in my current like corporate job, for example, to think outside of the box and to take initiative with solutions and be like creative in how I approach problems. And when I read Jonah's post, I was like, duh, it's probably because I distinctly remember like many times throughout my primary school and high school and even university having to force myself to think or behave a certain way in order to succeed and get good grades and get a good job in the future. Now that I'm here in a job, like how's that going for you? It's like here I am comparing myself constantly to my colleagues or my bosses and clients even, who seems to come so naturally to them, to how they come up with such creative solutions, and they work really well. And for me, I've never really been able to take that initiative and come up with creative solutions.
Yeah, because what I realized from like the book and everything was we've grown up being told what to do.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and because we've done it so often, we're conditioned now. We want to be told what to do because that's easy, right?
That's
like
how,
you want,
exactly.
And that's why for those in retail, I'm not sure if everyone relates, but for me personally, I was working there only for the security and only for the stability. I knew I was going to get paid hourly.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expected to think outside the box because my work was very structured.
Yeah, and people tell you what to do and you can do it well, so that's ticks all the boxes pretty much.
Exactly. So I feel like we're both very passionate about this. Like I'm making
it frustrates me.
Because we're like the product of schooling.
Yeah.
We're like the product of the system, and we can now look back and see how much it's affected us.
Yeah, and now that so many workplaces are looking for people who take initiative and can think outside of the box,
problem solving, all of that.
Yeah,
that we're not generally inclined to do. Like there may be people out there, like some of you watching, who
maybe have that naturally in them, and that is awesome, and that's so cool, and I wish I had that. Yeah, because now we're in a stage where we have to like reverse our thinking, and go against what we've been told for so many years of our life.
Yeah,
it's great,
right?
I love being an adult.
Yes. So with the linchpinning and with the out of the box thinking and all of that, how are you sort of being able to incorporate that into your life? Because you did say you're going to incorporate it into your corporate work, but how do you do that? And for people who are watching, like,
I'm still honestly I'm still struggling and still trying to figure that out. But I think if it's one thing that I've narrowed down that that's like step one for me to improve on, it'd be my critical thinking skills. I'm not sure if it's also been conditioned into me in relationships to just like that people-pleasing aspect of me, where I don't want to cause confrontation, I don't want to disagree with anyone, so when I look critically at a problem or an assignment, it's harder for me to criticize it. Not criticize, it's harder for me to point out issues in it and then come up with my own solutions. Or even if I manage to point out issues with it, like I have no source from which to draw my ideas for a solution because I'm so used to following other people's instructions. So for me, it's taking it one step at a time and taking an extra 5 or 10 minutes to think myself about a problem before bringing it to my colleagues to work as a team to solve. Because I think I want to come to my boss with a proposal, not a question on how to do this. I recently, very recently wrote this blog post called Only Q No A. Which I read that. Okay, so it's about like we're so used to getting the answers of something while we know, like while we're solving the question, we know that there's an answer that has been provided in a textbook, that we have the security of knowing that we can check it. Yeah. Whereas life, come on, when is life gonna give that to us? Yeah, exactly.
Just a straight up answer, and that's what I was trying to at least discuss, which was. Life is now giving us questions that haven't been solved, and we have to at least be patient and develop the skills in taking it slowly and trying to figure it out for ourselves and then discuss it with other people who equally don't know. Exactly. And come to a solution in some way.
Yeah, exactly. I also think on that note, actually, of like the answers always being there, I think probably part of the reason why I don't feel comfortable coming up with my own solutions or like proposing it to colleagues or clients is because I know that there are like my colleagues have been in the workforce for a lot longer than I have.
That's true.
Or like they're like maybe 30 years old at the moment, or 40 years old even. Yeah. So quite a few years longer, and especially like they've had more job experience, like they've come from marketing, they've come from engineering and all different disciplines. And I feel like whatever I suggest is gonna be like, for them it's just like, well, duh. But for me, it took like 10 minutes to think about it.
That's like sort of putting yourself down now. Because,
like, probably, but...
Because I feel like any perspective, you at least have experience in your job. So it's not like you're coming from, like, blindly anyway. But maybe they might appreciate that new perspective because they're thinking it from their angle with more experience and everything.
And they might forget, like, some of the... Like, even if what I say might be basic, they might be overlooking some of
Right.
the basics, I guess.
So you are smart.
So
You are wonderful.
yeah, that's still something that I'm working on again, right?
Yeah.
Like self-confidence and trust and being able to speak up. And anyone who would look at my proposal and think like, oh wow, she's dumb, that's on them.
Oh, right. That
Right?
was hypothetical, right?
That was hypothetical. I'm not
took
talking from
offense to
experience.
that.
Oh no.
I was like, oh god, someone actually said that to you.
No. But I feel it all the time. Like I
face
feel
went-
always serious.
Yeah, I was like, how dare they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think you just have to get over that feeling of insignificance and doubting yourself. In order to like think critically and think outside the box and push ideas forward, you have to get over yourself first. And that's this current stage where I'm at.
And also, I just wanted to like add that everyone comes into something thinking that they should be a pro.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, even
And no matter how much I know it, like every single time I do this to myself.
yeah. But it's easy to go into that spiral of thinking. Like, you're like, I feel intimidated by people
Yeah.
around me, but you forget that they have been in this so much longer than you have.
Exactly.
And they felt the exact same
Yeah,
way.
when they were your age.
Yeah.
Or in any new job even. They probably still feel the same way when they've been in the workplace for 20 or 30 years.
It's true. It's just something that we have to get used to, I guess.
Exactly. It's important to remember how your doubt about yourself isn't unusual.
Yeah.
It's universal, really.
So going to your corporate job, we did talk a little bit about like balancing that with life and being able to say no to things. But how we've talked about burnout a lot personally, not in this video, but
Because we're both we both like to busy ourselves and try new things all the time.
yes, we do.
Yeah. And sometimes that can lead to not having a good work-life balance.
But do you think that there is also a societal expectation for people to be busy? Like it's glorified. I feel like it's glorified because
Yeah,
as soon
oh my
as you
God.
say that, no, I've got
Yeah.
a free block of like a whole day to do nothing, like surely you got to fill that with a shift at work.
Oh my God,
or
it
somewhere.
still feels like unnatural to me. And I'm still like,
Right.
I have to clean, I have to work,
You have to
or
do
like I have to
something.
stay friend. Yeah.
to be productive, but
Yeah.
you might not even be productive because you're doing something that doesn't need to be done.
Exactly. This is something that I'm not sure if I mentioned this to you as well, but like latter half of 2019, I busied myself so much throughout the uni semester, and I thought that it would make me successful, or I thought that I would learn a lot from it. What ended up happening was that I didn't get a single day of time to myself to reflect, and I was so burnt out all the time that my like protective mechanism was to just spend less energy in every single task that I had signed myself up for
I didn't know
semester
that.
2. Yeah, so because
Okay.
I wanted to conserve myself and obviously get through that whole like 12-14 week period.
Right.
But what ended up happening was that I didn't put my all into any of the tasks that I was doing, and I felt so unsatisfied. And obviously, you know, like when you talk about friends, it's better to have like quality over quantity. But I like realized that also applied to jobs and work. It's so much better to have something that you're doing well and that you're pouring yourself into and that you like, rather than to spread yourself thin and do a lot of stuff that you don't like but that you thought that would make you successful because society has put that on you.
Yes. Did you have, when you were burnt out, things that you used to enjoy that you didn't enjoy anymore?
Yeah, all the time. And the reason why I wouldn't enjoy them anymore was because I felt guilty for doing them.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
because every
Yeah,
time,
it's true.
you know, like throughout the uni semester, every time I would sit down to read a book, I'm like, oh no, I should be studying. I could be reading my textbook at the moment. I could be like doing homework because now I'm in my room and I have time to myself. Like I should be getting good grades. And everything I would feel so guilty for doing and just not in the moment.
But if anything, doing that will make you more productive with what you're doing. Like, it's intentional relaxation in order to decrease that risk of being burnt out.
Yeah.
So it's like a sustainable way of protecting you.
It should be, but only if you can get over that feeling of guilt, and only if you can enjoy that book that you're reading. Because if you spend the whole time reading the book like with your mind on your work, then it might even be more productive to go back to your work and complete whatever is on your mind. And then once you know that you're like done for the day, then you can sit back and relax and read a book. That's what I found like I still kind of struggle with. If I'm so busy throughout the week and then on the weekend I'll sit down to read a book and I'll be like, this feels not right.
Unnatural.
Yeah, like I shouldn't be doing this. I don't deserve to be doing this. But
it's like watching Netflix or watching a show, which is considered unproductive.
Yeah.
But really,
it's productive because it's your rest. Completely.
Yeah.
And the point of life is not to work your ass off and not enjoy it.
Exactly.
Well, at least like for me. So yeah.
And now I want to know, do you have any life mottos or quotes that really speak to you, or that you've maybe subconsciously like
Yes, I have quite a few.
Okay.
Scare yourself, but don't be scared of yourself. Learned that one last week.
Yeah.
Who said it? Ocean Vuong said it. He's a poet.
Very poetic.
Yes. Actually, I have a list on my phone of like inspirational quotes.
There's so many.
Yeah, there's a lot. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone.
Yes. I really like the one that my friend Bella told me, and it is, feel the fear, but do it anyway.
Yes.
Because it's natural to feel fear. Like, it makes sense to, because your body's trying to protect itself. But when you do it anyway, you end up realizing how much it's not scary.
And if you run away from that fear, then it's never going to get better, and you're never going to get comfortable with it. Yeah.
Because everything that you've done to grow has been uncomfortable in some way for me as well. Like, that's the only way that you can
I'm uncomfortable every single day, but I'm not afraid of being uncomfortable anymore.
Uncomfortable.
I'm just, my whole existence is like
uncomfortable.
Also, okay, this is one of my favorites as well. Live freely, but love deeply. How I interpret it is like you're building a home in yourself, and you have like endless love to give, and your life is so full of it, but it also means you have no ties, and that you can carry that love with you wherever you are in the world.
That's true.
Which is
eloquently put.
Yeah, thank you. Which like is key to realizing, I guess, like what I want to do when I was talking about this other video, like traveling and like experiencing life in another place. I'm not afraid of it because I know that I'm carrying all my love and life with me.
Ooh.
Sorry, that was really cheesy.
Yeah, that was cheesy. But it's very sweet.
Yeah, what about you?
Yeah, so feel the fear, do it anyway. I really love. Okay. So this is the one. Shoot for the moon, and if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars.
Aww.
Yeah. I've really loved that
really
one for a long time, because you always, or at least for me, I always think that I need to do something perfectly, and I need to get to a certain goal, and if I don't, I feel, like unaccomplished. I don't feel like I've achieved. But this quote is basically saying that you can shoot for whatever you want, you can aim for something and try really hard, but even if you don't get what you want,
you're better off where you were, where you land than where you started.
Yeah, and you land amongst something beautiful like the stars, even though they probably burn you. Like, they're really dangerous. But you land amongst something that can still help you in some way, or you'll learn along in the process. So there's really nothing that you're missing out on.
Yeah, you've got nothing to lose.
Yeah, and if you're in the stars, then you can shoot for the moon and get even easier.
Maybe easier. Yeah,
I actually didn't think of that until now.
I didn't either. But also, why wouldn't you shoot for the stars and then land on the moon? Like, why is the moon the goal?
Because people have been on the moon, I guess. Maybe if you shoot for the moon for something that's already been done, you'll land amongst the stars, which is like
something that hasn't been done.
Linchpin.
But also you would burn. In flames.
Yeah, because the reason why I asked you is basically, I think it really helps to have like a life motto or just some quote just to remind you of what you value and what you want to achieve in life.
Yeah,
and if it's a quote about relaxation or something, that's exactly what you need. Like, yeah. And I'm really interested in seeing, how do you define success in your own terms? Yeah.
Most about the journey, not the result. More times than not, when you try things, you're gonna fail or make mistakes, and if it's always measured on results, if that's what the definition of success is for yourself, then you might feel more often than not unfulfilled and unsatisfied with yourself and beat yourself up. I think that whatever it is that you give a go, you're winning.
You're moving towards something.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a success and a celebration in itself.
Yeah.
So I think it's all about your efforts and your work that is up to the end result that you may want. Yeah. That's what success is to me.
So basically, I guess success to each and every one of you is what you find fulfilling. Yeah. And that could be in whatever means you want, but I guess for us it's all it's very
It's
different.
different.
So we're talking about happiness and fulfillment, but that doesn't mean that
Yeah.
someone else's is happiness. It could
Exactly.
be, it could be money, and
Yeah.
it could be something else.
And that's completely valid.
yeah, as long as it, I guess, leads to the same result of feeling fulfilled.
Yeah, exactly.
And I guess I'll end this interview with a very important question, and that is, if you could only choose one thing to plant in your garden, what would it be?
Oh my god, that's
It's a really good question. Yeah.
One thing to plant: spring onion. It's easy to grow. Like, spring onion, and I eat it. Like I will literally rip out the whole plant and just like eat it all.
You're an
I am
animal.
unstoppable. And then like all you have to do is like cut a little bit off at the shops, and you don't buy it. You just chop it off at Woolies.
Yeah.
And then
Rotate.
leave it for someone else to deal with, and then you plant it in your own garden, and then boop.
Yeah, because the roots, basically, if you put the roots in, even in water, you can
Yeah.
see the spring onion grow a bit, and you
like
can
the
put it
next
into
day it grows, and it's just like let it take over my whole garden, and I will gladly
Bathe
like
in
never eat
spring
anything but
onion.
spring onion. Yeah, exactly.
your
pretty
bread.
much. Look.
Okay. Well, so nice.
Thank you for having me.
It's really, really lovely because Lauren really inspires me, and we have such great conversations.
We do.
About this. This is what we talk about.
Joanna inspires everyone that ever comes into her life. Like since I met her, she's been an inspiration and such a wonderful friend. So I'm really grateful for you.
Yeah. Okay, so I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope it resonated with you in some way, because this is basically just a very casual chat.
Yeah.
And yeah.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah, see you in the next video. Bye.
Let me see if I can do this again. Take 3. Wait, I just
Yeah.
because I was like 4.
Okay. To give context behind lynchpinning, Seth Godin wrote a book about God. He did
Is that
about God. Ah!
I just want to work in retail and get rich.
You won't be able to do that unless if you're a manager.
Should we hang on? I think
it was a good
I'm sure
idea.
I remember it was a good idea because I got snappy.
Yeah, you did.
And sassy.
I'm sorry that I interrupted
No,
you
that's
then.
fine.
When I go edit this again, I'm just imagining like what your face is going to be like when I'm talking, and what my face is going to be like when you're
You're going to be like mainly concerned, and I'm going to be angry.
I look so concerned.
It's right. We've got crinkles.
Life mottos or quotes that you really like that have sort of spoken to you, or
I got eyelash.
oh.
Okay, I'm all good.